A 12-year-old is in big trouble today after he was caught going on a joyride in Toronto. Early this morning, police responded to calls of an SUV driving erratically on a major highway, nearly hitting other vehicles. Officers eventually caught up and found a boy clearly way too young to be behind the wheel. The boy's father says he was asleep at the time, unaware where his son was, until police showed up at his front door.
This boy has been a good, well-behaved boy. He's obedient, he's mild-mannered, he talks respectfully to everybody.
Has he ever done anything like this before?
No, nothing like this at all.
The father was then brought to the scene to pick up his son. Luckily, there were no injuries or damage to the vehicle. No word on any charges. Governments across Canada are keeping a close eye on New Brunswick, where the first provincial election campaign during the pandemic has crossed the halfway mark. The usual candidate meet and greets are much more challenging because of the risk of COVID-19. And as Ross Lord reports, for one politician who got into the race after tragedy, making a personal connection with voters means taking extra precautions.
In Canada's first pandemic election, candidates in New Brunswick are stepping tentatively. Many from the opposition Liberals, like Stephen Burns, are still going door to door.
I sanitize my hands, go to the door, I will use my pen to hit the doorbell, then I back up 10 feet, and if someone comes to the door, I just ask them first of all whether they're okay with me being here and having a conversation.
By contrast, the governing Progressive Conservatives are staying away. Premier Blaine Higgs hopes high approval ratings from stifling COVID-19 will turn his thin minority government into a strong majority. Higgs' candidates are relying on phone calls and social media instead of face-to-face contact.
I think they really appreciate the fact that we're not going up to their door. We're not even putting brochures in mailboxes. My brochures are going to be arriving in the mail this week. So we're being very cautious. You can't be too careful.
As a first-timer, Burns says traditional campaigning gives him an edge.
I have only had a couple people out of those 1,000 that had any concern, and once I explained to them, how it works, they were more than fine to talk to me.
For him, awkward conversations are nothing new. His wife, Sarah, a Fredericton police officer, was one of 4 people killed by a gunman 2 years ago, leaving him as a single parent to their 3 boys. Burns is campaigning on a call for better mental health services for youth.
And that obviously stems from the things that I went through with my kids and the death of my wife.
Wilson says the PCs have already made mental health a priority.
Number 1 announcement, so top priority. So we have to agree completely.
As they disagree on how to deliver their messages in this campaign unlike any other. Ross Lord, Global News.